Namaskar and welcome everyone on this day where we are celebrating Shaheed Diwas. We have fellow members joining us from New York, New Jersey, entire US and our dear India. To begin this and set the note right, I would perhaps, I have a few lines which come to my mind. And, on this day for people, for our martyrs who have sacrificed so much. So the lines are मिट्टी में मिल जावा, तलवारों पे सर वार दिए, अंगारों में जिस्म जलाया है, तब जाके कहीं हमने ये केसरी रंग सजाया है. On this note, I will introduce my co-host Anup ji, Mr. Anup Bhargav, who's a technology person by profession and a poet by heart. From his early childhood, he was fascinated by Hindi poetry and wrote his first poem at the tender age of 9. Anup ji did his engineering from prestigious Birla Institute of Technology and Science, Pilani, and Masters in Computer Science. In 2007, Anup ji was awarded Hindi Videsh Prasar Samman by Uttar Pradesh Hindi Sansthan for his contribution in promoting Hindi outside of India. Anup ji believes that the internet and latest computer technology can play an important role in spreading Hindi across the globe and has been working aggressively on several projects to realize this goal. Anup ji, we are all witness to this, muhim of yours, and it's been so successful in getting all of us together. So without much ado, I'll request you to please take it on.
Thank you so much, Bhavya. I'll pick it up from where you left. जब हम अपनी सफलताओं की बात करते हैं, जब हम ये कहते हैं कि हमारा देश 5वीं सबसे बड़ी इकोनॉमी बन गया है, तो ज़रूरत हो जाती है कि हम अपनी जड़ों को तलाश करें और देखें कि हम वहाँ तक कैसे पहुँचे हैं. और इस तलाश में ज़रूरी हो जाता है हम अपने शहीदों को याद करें, जिन्होंने हमें ये आज़ादी दी और जिसने हमें यहाँ तक पहुँचने के काबिल बनाया. तो इस भूमिका के साथ हम शुरू करते हैं आज के शहीद दिवस का कार्यक्रम. मुझे कुछ पंक्तियां याद आ रही हैं जो शहीद भगत सिंह ने अपने जेल में जब वो थे और जब उनको फांसी होने वाली थी, तब उन्होंने एक पत्र में लिखी थी. बहुत खूबसूरत पंक्तियां हैं. ये पंक्तियां हैं चकबस्त ब्रिज नारायण जी एक कवि हुआ करते थे, लेकिन क्योंकि ये भगत सिंह जी ने अपने पत्र में लिखी थी तो काफी लोग मानने लगे हैं कि ये भगत सिंह की ही की पंक्तियां हैं, लेकिन वास्तव में नहीं है. लेकिन देखिए खूबसूरत पंक्तियां हैं. वो कहते हैं कि उन्हें ये फिक्र है हरदम, नई तर्जे ज़फ़ा क्या है, हमें ये शौक है, देखें सितम की इंतहा क्या है. गुनहगारों में शामिल हैं, गुनाहों से नहीं वाकिफ. अब देखिए कि वो जेल में हैं, उन्हें फांसी होने वाली है, लेकिन अगर देखा जाए तो उनका जुर्म क्या है उनको खुद को नहीं मालूम. तो कहते हैं हमें ये शौक है, देखें सितम की इंतहा क्या है, गुनहगारों में शामिल हैं, गुनाहों से नहीं वाकिफ. सजा को जानते हैं हम, खुदा जाने खता क्या है, नया बिस्मिल हूं मैं वाकिफ नहीं रस्मे शहादत से, बता दे तू ही ए जालिम, तड़पने की अदा क्या है. तो आप उसकी कल्पना कीजिए कि एक 23 बरस का नौजवान फांसी पे हंसते हंसते चढ़ने को तैयार है, मुस्कुराते हुए, और उसे फांसी का जो फंदा है वो एक महबूबा की बाहों की तरह लगता है. फांसी का फंदा भी फूलों से कम न था, वो भी डूब सकते थे इश्क में किसी के, पर वतन उनके लिए माशूका के प्यार से कम न था. तो इस भूमिका के साथ हम शुरू करते हैं आज का शहीद दिवस, जिसमें हम याद करेंगे उन्हें जिन्होंने अपनी जान हंसते हंसते कुर्बान कर दी कि उनसे आगे आने वाली पीढ़ियों को कुछ मिल सके. और आज का जो कार्यक्रम है हम शुरू कर रहे हैं. सबसे पहले हम आमंत्रित कर रहे हैं हमारे कॉन्सुलेट जनरल श्री, एक मिनट में जरा, हम आमंत्रित कर रहे हैं श्री रणधीर जायसवाल जी को। रणधीर जायसवाल जी हमारे कॉन्सुलेट जनरल तो हैं ही, लेकिन हमारे एक तरह से मैं कहूँगा हमारे एक गार्डियन की तरह हमें ट्रीट करते हैं। एक जो कम्युनिटी जो फीलिंग उन्होंने बनाई है हम सब के बीच, हम उसके लिए उन्हें धन्यवाद देते हैं। और मैं निजी रूप से उनका जो हिंदी के प्रति प्रेम है और उसके लिए उन्होंने जो काम किए हैं उसके लिए धन्यवाद देता हूं और आमंत्रित करता हूं श्री रणधीर जायसवाल जी को।
Namaste to all our dear friends from across the world, some who are joining from India. Dr. Bhuvan Lal, he has been a great supporter to the consulate in celebration of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. We've had sessions by him on some of the leading lights of a freedom movement. So to have him here as part of Shaheed Diwas commemoration is truly special. Dr. Thomas, Anup Bhargav ji, Bhavya ji, all our dear friends, Shifen Sobat ji, Ram Gadvi ji. You know, sometimes we had an ambassador who recently passed away. He wrote a book called Birds of Passage. We are like birds of passage. We come and then we move from one country, one community, one society to another. But what amazes me, let me tell you, I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. It is truly inspirational for me to see how the community here, especially all of you, get together to celebrate the inner core of India. If that is the sentiment, I can imagine how passionately you are connected to your motherland. So my deepest appreciation for your thought, for your togetherness, and for always being there in the forefront to remember India, to celebrate India in one and many ways. So thank you. Today is a very special day, Shaheed Diwas, the day that three of our freedom fighters, leading lights of India, leading sons of India, brilliant sons of India, were martyred. Rajguru, Sukhdev, Shaheed Bhagat Singh. But their life and legacy, even though short-lived, has continued to live with us in terms of inspiration, in terms of their values, driving us as we build India of today. The last 75 years, India has done well based on their values, based on their legacy, and it will continue to drive us yet again over the next 25, the Amrit Kal that we call, but when India celebrates 100 years of its freedom, 2047. This year, Shaheed Diwas is important, very important and more meaningful because we are celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So thank you, GOPIO, for taking the initiative, partnering with us. It is truly, truly our delight, our inspiration to be part of this celebration. I wanted to start my greetings to all of you with Jai Hind. Usually Jai Hind is said at the end, but I saw Mr. Bhuvan Lal greeting everybody by saying Jai Hind. So Jai Hind to all of you. I would also like to share a few things about India. You know, I joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1998. And the last 25 years, India has grown 9-folds in economic terms. In the next 25 years, India is going to grow 9-folds or thereabout.
I think the video is
some technical
lag, I guess.
could it be from the CG side or?
Yes, it is.
I
We
think
can
it
hear.
is. Yeah.
CG sir, can you hear us? I think it's
muted.
I-
उनका network का issue हो गया. He will be joining.
consulate का होगा. Yeah.
And we still have someone joined as iPhone.
I have sent a message to iPhone and iPad to rename themselves.
So, what we
Let's
could
wait for a minute,
continue,
otherwise phone karke I'll find out.
Otherwise we could continue and we can ask him to come back again.
So
Continue with the program.
my apologies, Dr. Thomas. I should have invited you first, but
It's okay.
so do you want to go ahead or do we
Yes,
wait?
I think we could instead of by the time Bhaviaji will find out whether he's coming, she's coming. I could go ahead.
So-
Dr. Thomas,
Yeah.
you start, yes.
Without much ado, I invite Dr. Thomas Abraham, the international president of
Or
GOPIO
rather chairman.
and the chairman of GOPIO,
Yeah.
and under whose leadership we have seen GOPIO going leaps and bounds. We have, moved to Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, many other places. And I invite Dr. Thomas Abraham to say a few words about today's program.
Good morning, good evening, namaskar. I'm Thomas Abraham, chairman of the Global Organization of People of Indian Origin. We have a new president, Mr. Lal Motwani. I hope he will join us. He was going to travel to his daughter's place. So if he comes, then we'll ask him to say a few words of greetings. A few words about GOPIO. It is a pan-Indian community organization for Indian diaspora, which was started in 1989. We have now 100 chapters in 35 countries. And when we had this first convention in 1989, our Indian diaspora community was outside the political mainstream in most of the countries. Now we are pleased to see that we have now achieved political mainstream in most countries with larger diaspora population. In fact, at this time, we have country heads of Indian origin in United Kingdom, Ireland, Guyana, Suriname, Seychelles, and of course, Mauritius. We have also Indian origin people in high political offices in Canada, South Africa, United Kingdom, New Zealand, and of course, in the USA, where Indian African origin Kamala Harris is the vice president. As you know, India has the largest diaspora in the world, and it is still growing. Currently, Indian diaspora has a strength of over 32 million people. GOPIO has done some pioneering work in connecting the diaspora to our motherland. We also celebrate historic events of India. Today, we are pleased that all our distinguished speakers and all of you have joined us in celebrating those who are martyred and who are devoted their life for India's freedom. So welcome everyone. We thank every one of you for joining us at this program hosted by GOPIO Manhattan, headed by Shivendra Sofat-ji, GOPIO New York, headed by Beena Kothari-ji, GOPIO Edison, headed by Pallavi Belwariya-ji, and GOPIO Central Jersey, headed by Kunal Mehta-ji, with active support from the Indian Consulate. I also want to recognize Mr. Ram Gadvi, our senior leader, Ashok Madan, our North American international coordinator. Also, we have live members, Dr. Ramesh Pandey and Prashant Gupta from India. And then, of course, I also want to recognize Vipul Devji. He is the Council for Political and Education at the Consulate. And of course, from Bhavan, Sudhir Vaishnav. Thank you at this request. Thank you for joining us. And I wish everyone a wonderful celebration, looking at celebrating the martyrs of Rajguru, Shaheed Bhagat Singh, and all others who have martyred for India. Thank you. Namaskar. I think our Count CG has come back. Now we will go back to CG.
Thank you so much, Thomas ji. And Mr. Ranjit Jaiswal ji, on to you.
Sorry, Anup ji, there was some problem with either Zoom or software, some technical. So I've joined through my phone.
That's okay.
Sorry for this glitch.
No, please,
Just
go ahead.
wanted to conclude by saying, by seeking the support of the community on two accounts. One, This year, India is the president of G20. We are doing very many things. We have a very expansive agenda. We would like your support in conveying the message of India as it leads G20 presidency to people across the world. And the second thing, this year we're also celebrating International Year of Millets, which has been given a name Shri Anna. Shri Anna meaning something that is auspicious. Otherwise, we call it Mota Anaj in Hindi. But millets are water-wise, are health-wise, climate change adaptation-wise. Millets also help in enriching biodiversity. Millets are about strengthening small farmers in developing countries, in India and across the world. So we seek the support of the community in popularizing millets. There are millet products. Millets as grains are available here in stores. Millets are also grown in the United States. I was told that Texas grows a lot of sorghum,
Yes,
which is bajra. We know millets have been part of Indian palate, Indian cuisine, Indian food tradition for centuries. We need to bring back this traditional knowledge to help meet our health challenges, to help us with food security, and to also tackle climate change adaptation. Jowar, bajra, ragi, kutki, kodo, all these things, kangni, can provide many of the answers that we're looking for, not for just food security, but nutrition security as well. So we really will seek the support of GOPIO, all its members, to popularize millets and celebrate International Year of Millets with us and with the entire global community. International Year of Millets was born out of a resolution adopted by the UN General Assembly. So it's an India initiative, but it is being celebrated by the whole community, the international community, led by the United Nations, the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations organization. So thank you very much for Shaheed Diwas. Let us remember our leaders, their legacy, and also let us remember and take responsibility to bring our heritage from the past, such as millets, for answers to our future challenges and present challenges. Thank you very much for inviting me to this commemoration of Shaheed Diwas. Thank you, sir.
thank you so much, Honorable Consulate General Shri Jaiswal ji. And I believe on behalf of GOPIO and all the organizations, I can assure you all the support for any initiative that the CG office takes. Just the way you support us, we are behind you in every initiative. And now I take a pleasure and honor of inviting my co-host, Bhavya Gupta. Bhavya is the founder and managing partner of ACE Consultants. She works relationships with investors and clients globally, focused on cross-border consulting with special emphasis with India. She loves traveling, taking our community flag fly high, and painting. She's actively involved in many community projects in New York to support social causes. We welcome Bhavya, and I'll request her to be part of the ceremony today. Welcome, Bhavya.
Thank you, Anip ji. Thank you so much. इस सफर को आगे बढ़ाते हुए, to take this journey on, we have our very own Pallavi ji, whom I'm going to request and invite next. Pallavi Verma Belwarrior is GOPIO Edison president. By profession, she's a compliance manager, trained singer, and a paint artist. She started singing at a very, very young age under the guidance and training of her mother, Mrs. Vijaya Verma. Pallavi ji believes that music is a meditation and that constantly purifies the inner self. Today, she's going to sing Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram was originally conceived as a slogan and a song that inspired Indians to seek independence from the British colonial rule. On 24 January 1950, the Constituent Assembly of India has adopted Vande Mataram as the national song. It was originally called as Bande Mataram. And without much ado, I would request Pallavi ji to please present Vande Mataram. Thank you.
Thank you, Bhavya. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Greetings to respected Consul General, respected speakers for today's event, and our senior leaders of GOPIO, and all the viewers.
बोला के ना मैं तो बोली बाहुबल धरणी नमामि धरणी विपुल वर्णि मातरं वन्दे
Pallavi ji, thank you so much. This was really, really soulful. I have no words.
Thank you.
इतना अच्छा लगा है ये आप सुन के, दिल से अच्छा लगा है और बिल्कुल आत्मा को छूता है ये आपका सॉन्ग भी नहीं कहूँगी मैं इसको. This is really a soulful version of how all of us feel, believe, though we are very, very far away from our land, and we call US our land now, along with India. But very, very pretty and beautiful
Thank you.
version. Thank you.
Anyway.
Next, I would, to take on this journey, I would now request Senator Kesha Ram to come and, speak a few words to us. Senator Ram does not need any introduction. However, I'm still attempting to do, a small introduction for her. Senator Ram is an American. Namaste, Senator Ram. How are you? Good morning.
Namaste.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. Going on, so Senator Ram is an American activist and politician who serves as a member of the Vermont Senate. She served in the Vermont House of Representatives from 2009 to 2016, representing the Chittenden 6-4 district, which encompasses the hill section of Burlington and University of Vermont. In her early career, Ram was the youngest member of the House of Representatives and the youngest state legislator in the country. She's the youngest Indian American to ever serve in a state elected office. With this, Senator Ram, we are extremely proud of you and thank you for joining us today. So without much ado, I would request you to please speak a few words with us. Senator Ram, I think it's muted. You'll have to, thank you.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Thank you so much. And thank you, GOPIO and Shavenderji and everybody who's invited me today. Sorry to be popping in and heading back out. It's one of the last good days to ski up here in Vermont. And I am 8 months pregnant, but my husband really wanted to ski and dragged me up the side of a mountain. It's wonderful to be joining you from Vermont and to be with auspicious guests. I'm actually hoping that our Consul General and perhaps our Indian Ambassador to the US will be able to come visit Vermont soon. I'm hearing that might be in the works. Everyone is always welcome up here. There are very few of us who serve in office up here as Indian Americans, but it's certainly a growing number. One of the things that Shavenderji asked me to touch on that I think is really special is a little bit of a journey into my own past that I've been able to go on in just this past November. I think many of us have been touched by, and in our families, marked in some way by the partition of India and the creation of Pakistan. It was an event with the partition that took the lives of 10 million or more people and tore families apart and caused people to have to migrate in very hostile conditions. My family was no exception. My family is from Lahore pre-partition, and I thought we would never go back and it would never be, part of our family history again. And then the invitations would come and come, people wanting for me to visit, because as some of you, I think, know, my great-great-grandfather was Sir Gangaram, and Sir Gangaram was a famous engineer and architect. I knew him only in his celebration in Sir Gangaram Hospital in Delhi. And I had heard that Sir Gangaram Hospital in Lahore no longer had his name, that it was, hard to find his legacy there and everything had been wiped away. And in fact, sadly, when my father passed away, he kind of took that story to the grave, that narrative about loss that could never be recovered. And yet nothing could be further from the truth. When I was able to visit Lahore for the first time, anyone in my family had gone in 75 years. I saw that his name is celebrated by school children. People still know all of his great works. And we were able to visit, my husband and I, many of them, including the home, the last place that my grandparents lived, but he had built the post office, the museum, many of the schools and colleges, the water systems. the first hydropower station in Asia that's actually still functioning 100 years later. And so, you know, it was just such a treasure to be able to go back there and see that his legacy is so well preserved. In fact, a year before my arrival, they had started to restore his samadhi, his final resting place. And his legacy is so treasured. And it really demonstrated to me that where I had thought we had suffered immeasurable loss, they had kept alive the legacy of a Hindu civil servant for 100 years in Punjab, and were awaiting the return of his successors and his progeny. So it was an incredibly wonderful homecoming for me in many ways, 75 years after my family left. And so, you know, I think about that a lot. I think about all the great work that he did as I take my journey as a state senator now, the only woman of color to serve in the state Senate in Vermont, and the chair of the Economic Development and Housing Committee. He really believed that everyone had a place in society and everyone deserved to be given the opportunity to advance and to realize their fullest potential. And one of the ways that he felt most strongly in doing so was ending the practice of ostracizing widows, Hindu widows. It was said that the practice was, you know, outlawed, but still very much in practice in India to, you know, whether they were 6 or 60, to outcast a Hindu widow. And that didn't sit well with him, because that was wasted human potential and wasted life. And so he created the first home for widows. And it was his mission at the time to help widows get remarried. When he first started his work, he was able to get about 12 to 14 widows remarried a year. And by the time he finished his work toward the end of his life, he had helped 14,000 widows get remarried, and probably effectively led the effort to end the practice of ostracizing widows and not allowing them to re-enter society or remarry. And so I think about that a lot, because so much of my work is about the basic building blocks of human purpose and human dignity: education, water, access to a good paying job, art, culture, and of course, the ability to live in a society that accepts you no matter who you are. So I just want to offer that as this celebration continues, and as we reflect on our heritage. We don't have to look to the West to see women's empowerment and to see the value that our culture has brought to the table. You know, we have done that work ago, and we continue to do that work. And it's a privilege to have joined you all today to celebrate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bhavya, you're mute. Can you?
Hanji Anupji, please.
No, go ahead. Dr. Lal is the next person we would like to invite. Dr. Bhuvan Lal is the award-winning filmmaker, international entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and author. He has so many books to his credit. I'll just name a few. We have heard him before. He's an excellent, excellent speaker. Some of the books that he has written is, first is I believe that's the latest. He has Delhi in the Era of Revolutionaries, from 1857 to 1947, the period it covers. He's also the author of the book on Subhash Chandra Bose called The Man India Missed the Most. With that, I'll invite Dr. Bhuvan Lal to say a few words to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jai Hind to everybody. Randhirji, Vipulji, Dr. Thomas, Dr. Chaman Lal, Anupji, Shivendraji, Senator Ram, ladies and gentlemen. 23rd March 1931. None of the people on this program tonight were born there. yet that day remains with us. In fact, there are very few days from the Indian freedom movement that the whole country remembers every year. Another day is 13th April 1919, the day of Jallianwala Bagh. But the month before 23rd March 1930, from 27th February onwards, was the most traumatic period in that decade for India. On 27th February, Chandrasekhar Azad fought to the last bullet, and he did not let the British capture him alive. There was a lot of hue and cry. A lot of people wanted Mahatma Gandhi to intercede and tell Lord Irwin not to go forward with the hanging of the three patriots. At that time, the entire British civil service informally told London, if Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru are not hanged, we will resign en masse. So the British secretly committed a crime for which they have yet to apologize. 23rd March 1931, when the news came that the young men were no more, women and men across the country cried like children. Markets were shut down. Cities were shut down. There was a sudden silence that had never been seen across the country, from Peshawar to Rangoon, from north to south of India. Everybody was stunned. They were so young. They had a life ahead of them. They were like our children. How could they be snuffed out? The picture Bhagat Singh had got photographed at Kashmiri Gate in Delhi just before making the British hear the sound of the bomb in the parliament became the most important photograph in India. It got circulated everywhere. It reached the newspapers suddenly, and it got printed again and again. That photograph will remain famous for centuries to come. It influenced and impacted and inspired a whole generation of Indians at that time. The following year, on 26 January 1932, young men in Delhi decided that they will go and unfurl their flag in front of the town hall. The police came to know about this. They were prepared. They were prepared well in advance. Right in Chandni Chowk, the police waited. Suddenly, 5 men appeared singing the song, Chanda Uncha Rahe Hamara. Then another group of 5 men appeared singing the song, Chanda Uncha Rahe. And from every kocha, every gully, every nukkan of Delhi, 5 men, batches of 5 started appearing, singing this song, Chanda Uncha Rahe Hamara. And they started heading towards the town hall. Once they reached the town hall, the police of the British unleashed terror. They were assaulted. They were beaten with sticks. Mounted police was unleashed on them. They kept singing Chanda Uncha Rahe Hamara till there was no possibility of singing anymore. All that was left were broken glasses, slippers, bags, caps, shoes. There was nobody in sight. Everybody disappeared. Nobody could withstand the attack of the British police. The British went back to the Kotwal and celebrated. Scotch whiskey was flowing all through the corridors. People were being commended for medals, for a job well done. The city has been taught a lesson. Suddenly there was a sound outside. It was this song? Sound of a woman singing. Chanda Uncha Rahe Hamara. A batch of 5 women appeared, led by Bahan Satyavati. Another group of 5 women appeared, singing the same song. And yet again, another group of women, followed by another group of women. And all of them repeating exactly the same thing, singing the song and walking with the flag towards the town hall. By the time the police got to know what was happening, they had reached the town hall and they were going to put the flag on the town. There was very little reaction time, but the police reached the spot. They assaulted those women. Bahan Satyavati kept holding the flag. She was repeatedly hit by the police, continuously hit by the police. She did not leave the flag. She kept singing, Chanda Uncha Rahe Hamara, Azad Hindustan Zindabad, Inqilab Zindabad, till she was beaten back and forth. And she had no power or strength to say anything anymore. The impact of these events on India was enormous. What is not talked about in our history books and not talked so often is the impact of how all these revolutionaries, they affected the psyche of the people. People were getting impatient with the way things were moving in the non-cooperation movement. And an opportunity came some years later during the Second World War. A man appeared, a former president, former youngest president of the Congress Party, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. He spoke like nobody had ever spoken before. He always spoke in Hindustani. He said, "Tum mujhe khun do, main tumhe azadi do." This impacted the country. And outside India, he set up an army. That army was ready to fight for India's freedom. Azad Hind Fauj. The Azad Hind Fauj, the Indian National Army, may have lost the battles in Kohima, may have lost the battles in Mount Popa, and also at Imphal. But they eventually reached Delhi. They reached the Red Fort, very close to where Bahan Satyavati had tried to put the flag, at the town hall. And at the Red Fort trials, the British finally met their match. They brought forward 3 soldiers from the British Indian Army who had joined the Azad Hind Fauj: Gurbaksh Singh Dhillon, Shah Nawaz Khan, and Prem Sehgal, representing the 3 faiths of India. The entire country came together. For the first time in Indian political history, Indian National Congress, Hindu Mahasabha, and even Muslim League were on the same side of the fence. They wanted these 3 people to be freed. But the match was fixed and the British decided to send these 3 people to Andaman. By now, the impact of the revolutionaries, the impact of the Indian National Army had reached every single village in the country. The whole country was talking about Subhash Chandra Bose and Azad Hind Fauj. There was no chance for the British to do anything else except release 3 men. On the 1st of January 1946, they released 3 men. This was followed by mutinies in the naval and the army areas. The British knew their time had come to go back to England, because if they had stayed any day longer, they would be slaughtered. It would be a repeat of 1857, the Gadar. On 16th August 1947, in the morning at 9 o'clock, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru walked up the Red Fort to unfurl the flag. On that day, Azad Hind Fauj was standing in front of him, giving the march past. They sang what was to become the national anthem of India, the Qawmi Taranga, Tarana. Sab Sukh Chain became Jan Gan Man eventually. India became free. And a poet wrote about Subhash Chandra Bose in Hindi. अपनी सदी का वो बड़ा चमत्कार था सुभाष, परदेसी हुकूमत का बहिष्कार था सुभाष, अपने गुलाम देश की ललकार था सुभाष, मां के चरण का पुष्प नमस्कार था सुभाष। उसने सिखाया देश को अंगारों पे चलना, लोहे की दहकती हुई दीवारों पे चलना। उसने सिखाया बिजलियों के तारों पे चलना, तलवार सामने आए तो तलवार पे चलना। नर वो लाजवाब था, जिंदा इनकलाब था, काम उसने ऐसा किया हिल गया प्रताप। उसकी जो आजाद हिंद फौज थी महान। Little known fact, when Bhagat Singh was being tried in the British courts, Subhash Chandra Bose was in the audience, sitting next to Gurdeep Singh, the man who had brought Komagata Maru to Vancouver. So there is a direct link between the Gadar of 1857, the Gadar party, the activities of Bhagat Singh and the revolutionaries and Azad Hind Fauj. They all worked very hard. And it was an international, transcontinental effort, which is why the NRI community today has to work hard to make India a global power. Next 25 years, when we reach up 100 years of independence, are very critical. And we must all combine our resources to take this forward. I once again thank the consulate, GOPIO, for inviting me. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bhuvan, for your inspiring speech. We really enjoyed that. And now it's my pleasure and honor to invite Dr. Nirja Arun Gupta ji. Nirja ji's, I had a pleasure to meet Dr. Nirja Gupta ji in Fiji at the World Hindi Conference, and I was really impressed with her knowledge of so many, I would say, European languages, as well as 9 Indian languages. She has written several books on Pravasi Lekhan, actually, is one of her specialty, on which she has done a lot of work. She has written several books, including one on the freedom fighters and the martyrs. I had a pleasure of receiving that book from her. She is the Vice Chancellor of University in Ranchi, which Dr. Thomas mentioned about it. I welcome Dr. Nirja Arun Gupta ji to say a few words. Thank you.
Namaste, Jai Hind. Thank you so much, Dr. Thomas, Lalji, Anoopji, Rambhai, Lal sir. अभी आपने इतना सुंदर researched एक जो अभी credential दिया है, hats off to you. The way you have presented the entire span of those years, which were bubbling with the nationhood and which were aspiring the Swaraj as early as possible. Bhaviti and everyone who has invited me here and who are joining us today, thank you. Jai Hind, Maa Bharati ko pranam. आज जब हम अमृत काल में बात कर रहे हैं स्वराज की, आज जब हम अपने कंफर्टेबल स्पेसेस में बात करते हैं, याद करते हैं शहीदों को, तो कई बार ऐसे क्षण आते हैं कि जब हम खुद को अगर वहां तक ले जा सकें, उन वीरों तक ले जा सकें, तो शायद उनकी छटपटाहट हम समझ पाएंगे। वो छटपटाहट जो उनको गुलामी से हो रही थी, और वो क्यों हो रही थी, वो आज हम देखते हैं जब इंडिया इज चेंजिंग। India is changing because India is becoming Bharat and Indians are becoming more and more Bharatiya. And then when we look back and we talk about the glory and about the knowledge and about our accomplishments, and then we realize that this legacy was imprisoned. This was the legacy which was colonized. This was the legacy which subjugated. तब हम शायद उस क्षण को समझ सके जो छटपटाहट के क्षण थे। आज सरकार थोड़ा सा भी हम पर एक स्ट्रिक्ट कानून अगर लागू कर जाते हैं, कुछ इंटेलेक्चुअल्स से आता है, कुछ हमारे समाज से आता है, कुछ युवा हमारे विद्यार्थी करते हैं, लेकिन वो सोचिए कि एक पूरा राष्ट्र सदियों तक गुलाम बना के रखा गया हो, तो उसकी आजादी की छटपटाहट उससे भी बड़ी होती है। तो भारतीय स्वतंत्रता का आंदोलन बहुत बड़ी बात है। उसके कण कण में स्वराज की गूंज थी, और क्योंकि ये स्व का जो एलिमेंट था, ये खाली स्वराज में नहीं था, स्वभाषा के लिए लड़ाई है, स्वधर्म के लिए लड़ाई है, स्वाभिमान के लिए लड़ाई है, यानी स्व के जितने रूप हो सकते थे सब बंदी थे। और कई बार हम कहते हैं कि देखिए, गुलामियों की चेन जब हमारे पैरों में पड़ी होती है, चेन काटना आसान होता है, लेकिन उस कटी हुई चेन के जो निशान होते हैं वो बहुत देर में जाते हैं, उसको हम रगड़ते रहते हैं। There are the permanent impressions. These impressions take so long to get wiped out. आज हम और आप मिलकर इन impressions को ही मिटा रहे हैं। We are trying to go back to the cleanest way, cleanest save of India. दो पंक्तियों से बात शुरू करना चाहूंगी। एक फिल्म आई थी भगत सिंह पे, शहीद, मनोज कुमार वाली, और इतनी इम्प्रेसिव वो फिल्म थी। उसमें जब भगत सिंह जेल में है तो उनकी माँ का रोल कामिनी कौशल ने निभाया था। वो हर बार जब भगत सिंह से मिलने जाती हैं, भगत सिंह से मिलती हैं, वापस आती हैं, एक बार भी उनकी आंख में आंसू नहीं आता। वो बड़े भावपूर्ण क्षण होते हैं, बड़े इमोशनल उनके इंटरेक्शंस हैं माँ बेटे के, लेकिन वो बड़ा करेज रख के जाती है। वो माँ अपना ऐसा सीना रख कर जा रही है, उसे पता है मेरे बेटे को फांसी होने जा रही है, लेकिन हर बार वो हिम्मत बन के जाती है भगत सिंह की, और माँ से मिलकर भगत सिंह की हिम्मत भी दुगनी चौगनी हो जाती है। बस आखिरी बार जब वो जा रही हैं, मिल रही हैं, और वो लौटने वाली हैं, और उनकी आंख में आंसू छलक जाता है, तो बैकग्राउंड से एक म्यूजिक बजता है, उसमें एक लाइन है, तू न रोना कि तू है भगत सिंह की माँ। आज भी मुझे गूज़बम्प्स हो जाते हैं, मेरे रोंगटे खड़े हो जाते हैं। ये भगत सिंह की माँ कौन है? Is she the mother of only son, or is she the माँ भारती who doesn't weep on her martyrs, who doesn't weep on those sons which gave away their lives? अभी 2 दिन पहले मैं महाराजा रणजीत सिंह की बायोग्राफी पढ़ रही थी। 10 साल का वो बच्चा, उसने अपना तख्त संभाला। 17 साल की उम्र में वो अफगानिस्तान को विजय करता है, और विजय करने की 4 शर्तों में पहली शर्त रखता है, मोहम्मद गजनी जो सोमनाथ के दरवाजे लूट के ले गए थे, उन दरवाजों को वापस करो। वापस लेकर आता है, उसकी चांदी वांदी सब निकल गई है, लेकिन क्योंकि सोमनाथ का मंदिर विध्वंस स्थिति में था, तो हरमिंदर साहब में स्वर्ण मंदिर में वो दरवाजे जड़वाता है, आज भी है। उसको वहां का राजा बादशाह कोहिनूर हीरा देता है, तो वसीयत में लिख कर जाता है, ये कोहिनूर हीरा जगन्नाथ महाराज के पुरी में उनके माथे पर सजा दिया जाए। हम सपूतों को आज याद सेलिब्रेट किया, ना अपने तख्त को सेलिब्रेट किया, ना अपनी सिद्धियों को सेलिब्रेट किया। I was given the chance to write the theme paper of G20, India as Mother of Democracy. When I was writing it, each moment was something like a revelation to me. So we have to come out of all these, impressions of our basically the moments of subjugation. We have to celebrate what was India actually. And this Shaheed Diwas would be a real celebration if, like Bhagat Singh ki maan, we nurture the courage and we show the best face, and we salute our Maa Bharati and promise ourselves कि no more we would lead it to another subjugation. 2 पंक्तियां कहकर मैं अपनी बात समाप्त करना चाहूंगी। आज सुबह ही लिखी है। अपने शहीदों की याद में माटी पर गिरते ही जिनके तन का रक्त बना चंदन, हम करते हैं उन वीरों का आज हृदय से अभिनंदन। जिन बेटों को पा माताएं बड़े गर्व से बोली, मेरे लालों ने खेली है अब के सच्ची होली। देखो खाई नहीं किसी ने कभी पीठ पर गोली, अमर रहे ये स्वतंत्रता के मत वालों की टोली। देख उठा जग, चौंक उठा जग, देख हमारे नए युवा शिव का नर्तन, हम करते हैं उन वीरों का आज हृदय से अभिनंदन। वंदे मातरम। जय हिंद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद डॉक्टर नीरजा जी। और अब हमने बहुत सी बातें सुनी, अब वक्त आया है कुछ कविता सुनने का। और इसके लिए मुझे बहुत खुशी है कि मेरे अनुरोध पर मेरे छोटे भाई गजेंद्र सोलंकी जी दिल्ली से हमारे बीच में उपस्थित हैं। गजेंद्र भाई को मुझे गजेंद्र भाई कह रहे हैं कि करीब 30 साल से वो कविताएं पढ़ रहे हैं कवि सम्मेलनों में, और उन 30 में से कम 20 या 25 साल तो मैं उन्हें जानता हूं। और बहुत ही अच्छे कवि हैं, वीर रस की कविताएं लिखते हैं, सभी रसों की लिखते हैं। एक्चुअली मैं कहूँगा वीर रस ही नहीं, लेकिन वीर रस जो उनका जो मुख्य प्रधान रस है। और इसीलिए जब डॉक्टर थॉमस से और मेरी बात हो रही थी, हमने कहा कि हमें गोपियों के कार्यक्रम में कविता सुननी है, तो सीधे से मुझे गजेंद्र भाई का ध्यान आया और वो हमारे बीच में हैं। गजेंद्र भाई बहुत से देशों की यात्रा कर चुके हैं, अमेरिका कई बार आ चुके हैं। और एक बात उन्होंने मुझे बताई कि अभी हाल ही में दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी के एक कॉलेज में उनका लिखा हुआ गीत, एक उनका जो संस्था का जो गीत होता है उसकी तरह उसे स्वीकार किया गया है। तो इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं आमंत्रित करता हूं भाई गजेंद्र सोलंकी जी को। और हाँ, मुझे क्योंकि कविता की बात है तो मुझे 2 पंक्तियां याद आ रही हैं श्री कृष्ण सरल जी की। तो कहते हैं कि तुम न समझो देश की स्वाधीनता यूं ही मिली है, तुम न समझो देश की स्वाधीनता यूं ही मिली है, हर कली इस बाग की कुछ खून पीकर ही खिली है। मस्त सौरभ रूप या जो रंग फूलों को मिला है, ये शहीदों के उबलते खून का ही सिलसिला है। बिछ गए वो नींद में दीवार के नीचे गढ़े हैं, महल अपने शहीदों की छातियों पर ही खड़े हैं। नींव के पत्थर तुम्हें सौगंध अपनी दे रहे हैं, जो धरोहर थी तुम्हें वो हाथ से जाने न देना। और इसी धरोहर को संभालने के लिए आमंत्रित करता हूं डॉक्टर श्री गजेंद्र सोलंकी जी को।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आदरणीय अनूप जी भाई साहब। और आप सभी के दिलों में धड़कते हिंदुस्तान को नमन करता हूं, वंदन करता हूं। मैं श्रीमान रणधीर जायसवाल जी, काउंसिल जनरल ऑफ इंडिया न्यूयॉर्क, आदरणीय डॉक्टर थॉमस अब्राहम चेयरमैन गोपियो, लाल मोटवानी जी, और सभी जो लोग जुड़े हुए हैं, सभी का अभिनंदन करता हूं। और कहना चाहता हूं कि भले होली दिवाली ईद की खुशियां मनाए हम, भले होली दिवाली ईद की खुशियां मनाए हम, भले ही कामयाबी के नए सपने सजाए हम, अगर जो चाहते हैं वो गुलामी फिर से ना आए, मिटे जो देश की खातिर नहीं उनको भुलाए हम। तो आपने जो ये उनको याद किया है, शहीदों को शहीद दिवस मना रहे हैं आप, उसके लिए अभिनंदन करता हूं। और इसीलिए भी अभिनंदन करता हूं कि जमी होती है अपनी और गगन अपना ही होता है, हवाएं फूल खुशबू और चमन अपना ही होता है, बसा लें घर कहीं और किसी मिट्टी के हो जाएं, मगर है सच यही अपना वतन अपना ही होता है। तो मैं उस वतन के प्रति जो आपके दिलों में प्यार है, मैंने बहुत सारे गीत लिखे एनआरआईज के लिए, मैं शहीदों की बात करना चाहूंगा। उससे पहले 2-3 बात और कहना चाहता हूं कि परिंदे भूल कर भी कब गगन को भूल पाते हैं। गोपियों को समर्पित करता हूं ये पंक्तियां कि परिंदे भूल कर भी कब गगन को भूल पाते हैं, भला गुल भी कभी अपने चमन को भूल पाते हैं। और भले ही स्वर्ग सी सुविधाएं हों परिवेश में, लेकिन वतन से दूर रहकर कब वतन को भूल पाते हैं, वतन से दूर रहकर कब वतन को भूल पाते हैं। और भले हो दूरियां कितनी मगर मन पास रहता है, कभी यादें वतन में कोई जज्बा खास रहता है। और समंदर पार भी माँ की दुआएं साथ रहती हैं, प्रवासी हर हृदय में हिंद का एहसास रहता है। तो उस एहसास को मैं शब्द देता रहा हूं, और क्योंकि ये शहीद दिवस का कार्यक्रम है और शहादत देने वालों को याद करते हैं हम, और कहां से शुरू करूं, मैं भगत सिंह जी से ही शुरू करना चाहता हूं, 23 साल के उस नौजवान को याद करते हुए जिन्होंने हंसते हंसते फांसी के फंदों को चूम लिया और कहीं कोई समझौता नहीं किया अपने स्वाभिमान के साथ में। मैं शुरू करता हूं कि घोड़ी चढ़ने की नहीं मन में ललक रही, फांसी चढ़ने का चाव लिए बलिदानी था। कि घोड़ी चढ़ने की नहीं मन में ललक रही, फांसी चढ़ने का चाव लिए बलिदानी था। और लावा बन बहता था शोणित शिराओं में जो वीर अभिमानी पंच नद वाला पानी था। तो 10 गुरुओं की शक्ति भक्ति भावना का ज्वार, फिरंगी को ललकार वीर स्वाभिमानी था। आतताइयों ने भले फांसी पे चढ़ा दिया हो, अमर मशाल बना क्रांति का सेनानी था वो, अमर मशाल बना क्रांति का सेनानी था। और मातृभूमि को दिलाने मुक्ति जो कमाया नाम, बलिदानी शौर्य की सच्चाई को नमन है। कि मातृ, अभी डॉक्टर नीरजा जी ने बहुत अच्छी बात की, भगत सिंह फिल्म से उन्होंने उनकी माँ की बात की। मैंने अपनी पंक्ति में कुछ यूं कहा कि मातृभूमि को दिलाने मुक्ति जो कमाया नाम, बलिदानी शौर्य की सच्चाई को नमन है। और जिसने अमर क्रांति ज्वाल को जन्म दिया, ऐसी पुण्य कोख वाली माई को नमन है। तो इनकलाब जिंदाबाद वाले घोष को नमन, आजादी के युद्ध के कन्हाई को नमन है। और वरमाल की बजाय फांसी को गले में डाला, भगत की क्रांति तरुणाई को नमन है जी, भगत की क्रांति तरुणाई को नमन है। और जिनके लहू से लाल, इतिहास बहुत लंबा है, 1857 से लेकर 1947 तक का 90 सालों का इतिहास बलिदानों से भरा पड़ा है। कहते हैं 7.5 लाख से ज्यादा लोगों ने अपना प्राणदान दिया, बलिदान दिया भारत की आजादी के लिए। आजादी इतनी सस्ती नहीं मिली। तब मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि जिनके लहू से लाल क्रांति वाला इतिहास, जलियांवाला बाग के शिकारों को नमन है। कि जिनके लहू से लाल क्रांति वाला इतिहास, जलियांवाला बाग के शिकारों को नमन है। और शांति अहिंसा के हथियारों को नमन, और क्रांति के गगन के सितारों को नमन है। तो आजादी की डोली के कहारों को नमन, कि आजादी की डोली के कहारों को नमन, और लाला जी के सीने के प्रहारों को नमन है। और तुम मुझे खून दो मैं तुम्हें आजादी दूंगा, दिल्ली चलो वाली ललकारों को नमन है जी, दिल्ली चलो वाली ललकारों को नमन है। और हमको उजाला देने के लिए जो बुझे उन दीपकों की पावन कतारों को नमन है। कि हम शिल्प, देखिएगा कविता का क्या हो सकता है अनूप जी, आप तो खुद में बहुत अच्छे कवि हैं। कि हमको उजाला देने के लिए जो बुझे उन दीपकों की पावन कतारों को नमन है। और मातृवंदना के गीत गाते गाते चूम लिए उन फांसी वाले पुण्यहारों को नमन है। तो बलिदानी स्वरों की पुकारों को नमन, और कोल्हुओं से बही तेल धारों को नमन है। याद करें अंडमान निकोबार की सेलुलर जेल। एक बात और कहना चाहता हूं इस अवसर पर, अभी 126वीं जयंती नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस जी की मनाई गई, और आइकॉनिक वीक मनाया गया अंडमान निकोबार में, जहां पहली बार नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस आजाद हिंद फौज ने तिरंगा लहराया था। और सबसे बड़ा सौभाग्य मेरे लिए यह है, हम कवियों के लिए यह है, कि पहली बार सेलुलर जेल के अंदर, उस आइकॉनिक वीक के अंदर पहली बार कवि सम्मेलन रखा गया देशभक्ति का, और उसको करने का सौभाग्य मुझे मिला। मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं गृह मंत्रालय और केंद्र सरकार का। तब मैं कहना चाहता हूं, मैंने उस पर कविताएं लिखी बहुत सारी। मैंने लिखा कि फांसी वाले फंदे अब तक वंदे मातरम गाते हैं, काल कोठरी वाले कुंदे इनकलाब दोहराते हैं। और 12 मासों ही रहती थी खुशियों की हड़ताल वहां, जहां 13 युग से काटे होंगे कैसे 13 साल वहां। आजादी का निश्चय केवल जिनका एक सहारा था, धन दौलत की चाह नहीं थी, स्वाभिमान ही प्यारा था। और काला पानी दीप नहीं बस हिंदुस्तानी तीरथ है, और आजादी की गंगा लाने वाला एक भगीरथ है, आजादी की गंगा लाने वाला एक भगीरथ है। तब मैंने कहा कि हमको उजाला देने के लिए जो बुझे उन दीपकों की पावन कतारों को नमन है। और मातृवंदना के गीत गाते गाते चूम लिए उन फांसी वाले पुण्यहारों को नमन है। तो बलिदानी स्वरों की पुकारों को नमन, और कोल्हुओं से बही तेल धारों को नमन है। और क्रांतिकारियों ने जहां लिखा वंदे मातरम, सेलुलर जेल की दीवारों को नमन है जी, काला पानी जेल की दीवारों को नमन है जी, काला पानी जेल की दीवारों को नमन है। और ये श्रृंखला बहुत लंबी हो सकती है। मैं तिरंगे को 4 पंक्तियां देना चाहता हूं। तिरंगा हमारी आन बान शान का प्रतीक है। जिस तिरंगे के लिए बलिदान दिया बलिदानियों ने, जिस तिरंगे को हम लाल किले पर लहराते हैं, पूरे देश में लहराते हैं, पूरी दुनिया में तिरंगे का क्या सम्मान है। अभी यूक्रेन और रशिया के युद्ध के बीच में पता चला, जब भारतीय विद्यार्थी वहां से तिरंगा लपेट के निकल लेते, उनको सिर्फ पैसेज दिया जा रहा था, तो हमारे आसपास के देशों के बच्चों ने भी तिरंगा लपेट के अपनी जान बचाने के लिए, तिरंगे का सम्मान रखने के लिए उन्होंने तिरंगा ओढ़ के निकले वहां से। कि जनगण मन के अमर स्वरों का गान तिरंगा है, भारत के स्वर्णिम सपनों की शान तिरंगा है, और बलिदानी पवनों के झोंकों से जो लहराया, भारत मां का गौरव और सम्मान तिरंगा है। उस तिरंगे की आन बान शान आप भी पूरी दुनिया में बढ़ा रहे हैं। अंत में 4 पंक्तियां एक गीत की रखते हुए मैं स्थान लूंगा। समय की सीमाएं हैं, क्योंकि इतनी देर में तो पता भी नहीं चलता। अनूप जी ने कहा था 5 मिनट मिलेंगे, अब 5 मिनट तो हो चुके हैं। मैं एक गीत पढ़ के, एनआरआईज को मैंने समर्पित बहुत सारे गीत लिखे हैं, उनमें से एक गीत पढ़ता हूं। अभी यूज किया गया था बर्ड मतलब परिंदे प्रयोग किया गया था। जो एनआरआईज हैं हमारे पूरी दुनिया में, मिलियंस ऑफ मिलियंस जो एनआरआईज पूरी दुनिया में हैं, उनके लिए मैंने गीत लिखा कि भारत के परिंदों की, आप सबको समर्पित करता हूं, कि भारत के परिंदों की जग में पहचान तो जिंदा है, भारत के परिंदों की जग में पहचान तो जिंदा है, रहे कहीं भी दिल में हिंदुस्तान तो जिंदा है, इस वतन की खातिर जीने का, भारत की खातिर जीने का अरमान तो जिंदा है, रहे कहीं भी दिल में हिंदुस्तान तो जिंदा है। और भारत की माटी की खुशबू, गोपियों को नमन करता हूं, बधाई देना चाहता हूं, धन्यवाद भी करता हूं कि उन्होंने, आपने मुझे आमंत्रित किया। कि भारत की माटी की खुशबू जिनके मन को महकाती है, जिनके दिल की धड़कन धड़कन भारत के नगमे गाती है, तन भले प्रवासी हो जाए मन तो भारत की थाती है, दामन में हो लाखों खुशियां अपनों की याद सताती है, बचपन की मधुरिम यादों का, बचपन की मीठी यादों का कुछ ध्यान तो जिंदा है, रहे कहीं भी दिल में हिंदुस्तान तो जिंदा है, भारत के परिंदों की जग में पहचान तो जिंदा है, रहे कहीं भी दिल में हिंदुस्तान तो जिंदा है। और मैं गीत को यहीं समाप्त करता हूं और कहना चाहता हूं कि ये जो दिल में आपके हिंदुस्तान धड़कता है, यूं ही धड़कता रहे, भारत की आन बान शान, जहां आपकी कर्म भूमि का भी सम्मान करें, अपनी जन्मभूमि, अपने भारत, अपनी मातृभूमि का भी सम्मान हम करते रहें। और यही कहते हुए मैं ये कहना चाहता हूं कि तुम्हारी याद में जब अब्र होगा लाल पूछेंगे, गुजारे किस तरह ये दिन महीने साल पूछेंगे, अभी इन खुशनुमा लम्हात को मैं अलविदा कह दूं, मिलेंगे फिर कभी तो फिर तुम्हारा हाल पूछेंगे। जय भारत, जय हिंद, वंदे मातरम।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद गजेंद्र भाई। और जैसा मैंने कहा था, जैसा मैंने सोचा था, एक नई ताजगी सी आ गई है इस पूरी सभा में। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका। और जब हम गोपियों की बात करते हैं तो एक नाम जो हमारे बीच में आता है वो है श्री लाल मोटवानी जी का। लाल मोटवानी जी इंटरनेशनल गोपियों के अध्यक्ष हैं और उनकी जो ऊर्जा है वो हमें प्रभावित करती है। इतनी उम्र के बाद, इतने समय गोपियों के साथ करने के बाद भी उनकी जो ऊर्जा है वो हमें एक नई ऊर्जा देती है। तो मैं उनका स्वागत करता हूं और अगर वो चाहें तो वो कुछ शब्द कहें, लेकिन उनका यहाँ होना ही हमारे लिए बहुत बड़ी बात है। इसके साथ ही मैं राम गढ़वी जी अगर यहाँ पर हैं तो मैं उन्हें भी एक्नॉलेज करना चाहता हूँ। राम गढ़वी जी का भी गोपियों में बहुत बड़ा योगदान रहा है। मुझे उनका निजी सानिध्य मिला है, स्नेह मिला है। हम उन्हें भी नमस्कार करते हैं। धन्यवाद। और अगर आप लोग कुछ कहना चाहें तो
लाल भाई, यू हैव टू अनम्यूट। लाल जी,
लाल साहब आपको अनम्यूट करना होगा।
कैन यू अनम्यूट? या, यू आर डन। या,
आज बहुत दिनों के बाद मेरे को याद आ गई वो दिनों की जब पाकिस्तान और हिंदुस्तान का डिवाइड हुआ था। I was about 10-year old at that time. And I remember सुबह में 4 बजे हमारे मामा, my mother's brother, came to our house because he was in police and he got a permit about 6 people to 8 people to we can go to India. And at that time, we got ready only youngsters, which we had 2 children of 1 year and 2 years. I was a 10-year-old and our ladies, 3 were about young, and my sister and my cousin sister. We came to, and at 5 o'clock, we got ready within half an hour, dressed in Muslim dress, and left the house. Can you remember, think about that? At that time, when your families there, we are youngsters, we never know where we are going, what we are doing, and left the India. At that time, when we reached to the Hyderabad, we were having a lot of problems. We cannot, my sister was going to get married and she couldn't get married at that time. I'm just telling this story, what we Indians, Hindus has suffered, and especially Punjabis, Bengalis, Sindhis. Sindhis the most, they left the whole Sindh. Punjabis nearly 50% and Bengalis. मेरा कहने का मतलब ये है कि हमको आजादी जो मिली वो आसानी से नहीं मिली, सिर्फ कुछ लोगों के शहीदी रहने से नहीं मिली, पर लाखों लोगों ने जिनके नाम हमको मालूम नहीं है, क्या उन्होंने छोड़ा कुछ मालूम नहीं है। जब हम अपनी जिंदगी का देखते हैं, सोचते हैं, आज मेरे को सब यादें आ गई, कैसी तरह से क्या क्या हम लोगों के साथ उस टाइम हुआ था। I cannot explain you at this time, but it was when we reached Marwar, my brother and they went, took the load and went in another train. And by the time they came back, the train left. I was alone with a load of food and everything. And my brother came from one side. He thought that his cousin is with the ladies and children, and we were alone. You will surprised to know when we went to that station master, can you hold the train so that we can get into with the ladies, because they are alone, they don't know where to go. And they say, no, we cannot do, you give the telegrams. When we saw our pockets, we had only 1 rupee in our pocket. And 1 rupee is the telephone person say, give us that money. So when we get there, this rupee is no good. It's a Pakistani rupees. So we couldn't get that. And we got only channa left over in quarter. We 3 people eat channa of 1 anna for whole night and reach the Ahmedabad. So this was a small thing with us. Think about the other people who came with their children and what they have suffered. Today, it was reminding me when your Kavita and all those things.
Thank you so much, Motwani ji.
Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. For
and I couldn't control myself and I expressed what we suffered as a small family of the India. I'm very happy that all of you have come with a short notice of our GOPIO. Thanks to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Motwani जी. और अब हम लोग आगे बढ़ते हैं, फिर से एक बार हम चलते हैं पल्लवी जी की तरफ, जो हमारे लिए एक और बहुत मधुर सा गीत लेकर आ रही हैं। पल्लवी जी का परिचय हम पहले ही दे चुके हैं, और बिना किसी भूमिका के आमंत्रित करते हैं एक और गीत के लिए।
थैंक यू अनूप जी।
Yeah. Okay.
कर चले हम फिदा जानो तन साथियों, अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों। कर चले हम फिदा जानो तन साथियों, अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों। कर चले हम फिदा जानो तन साथियों, अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों। सांस थमती गई, नब्ज़ जमती गई, फिर भी बढ़ते कदम को न रुकने दिया। कट गए सर हमारे तो कुछ गम नहीं, सर हिमालय का हमने न झुकने दिया। मरते मरते रहा बाकपन साथियों, अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों। कर चले हम फिदा जानो तन साथियों, अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों। जिंदा रहने के मौसम बहुत है, मगर जान देने की रुत रोज आती नहीं। हुस्न और इश्क दोनों को रुसवा करे, वो जवानी जो खून में नहाती नहीं। आज धरती बनी है दुल्हन साथियों, अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों। कर चले हम फिदा जानो तन साथियों, अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों। राह कुर्बानियों की न वीरान हो, तुम सजाती ही रहना नए काफिले। फतह का जश्न इस जश्न के बाद हो, जिंदगी मौत से मिल रही है गले। बांध लो अपने सर पे कफन साथियों, अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों। कर चले हम फिदा जानो तन साथियों, अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों। बिन खोसे जमी पर लगी इस तरफ आने पाए ना रावण कोई तोड़ दो हाथ अगर हाथ उठने लगे छूने पाए ना सीता का दामन कोई राम भी तुम ही लक्ष्मण साथियों अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों कर चले हम फिदा जानो तन साथियों अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों अब तुम्हारे हवाले वतन साथियों।
Thank you. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, Pallavi ji. Thank you so much.
बहुत सुंदर, बहुत ही अच्छा।
Very nice. बहुत सुंदर।
ये आपने जो गाया है बिल्कुल ऐसा लगा है जैसे हम सबकी रूह से निकल कर आए हैं ये सारे पंक्तियां। बहुत बहुत सुंदर। ये मुझे एक कवि हैं मनोज मुंतशिर जी, उनकी केसरी फिल्म में लिरिक्स थी। मैं 4 लाइन पल्लवी जी इसको कंटिन्यू करके कहना चाहती हूँ। मैं बिल्कुल गा नहीं सकती हूँ, इसीलिए ए मेरी जमीन अफसोस नहीं जो तेरे लिए 100 दर्द सहे, महफूज रहे तेरी आन सदा चाहे जान मेरी रहे ना रहे। And with this, thank you so much. I will like to, recognize Kunal Mehta ji, who's, the GOPIO president for New Jersey. He's there with us. Kunal ji, thank you so much for joining us today on the Shaheed Diwas event.
Thank you, Bhavya ji. Look, one of the things that I personally maybe at times take for granted, right, is my lifestyle, which is very much a function of the sacrifices that my parents have made, and of course prior to them, our martyrs and sort of the folks of generations of people ahead of me have made. So when I have the ability to participate and listen to these types of speeches and these types of poetry, while I cannot by any means even think about some of the things that Lal Motwani just talked about, right? I have never experienced any of that. But it's humbling that it's because of that I am here. And, I get to the message to the folks of my generation, don't take this for granted, right? This is a gift that many people's sacrifices have given to us, and really sort of cherish it and, promote the sentiments of all those sacrifices that have been made, and really be humble and be kind, right? As a human and as an Indian, and really continue to preserve those values and extend them, right, as part of your life. So thank you to GOPIO teams, thank you to the Consulate General, thank you to Thomas Abraham and team for having me and having such a program like this.
Thank you, Kunalji. These are truly words of inspiration and encouragement for all of us here. And, taking on our journey today on celebration of Shaheed Diwas, I would now request Professor Manu Bhagwan to come and, speak a few words. Professor Bhagwan is a specialist on modern India, focusing on the 20th century late colonial and post-colonial periods, with particular interest in human rights, internationalism, and questions of sovereignty. At Hunter, where he is professor of history, at the undergraduate level, he lectures on modern world history and on modern South Asian history, and offers seminars on Gandhi, modern India, and violence and ethnic conflict. His graduate classes focus on human rights and internationalism. And without much further ado, Professor Bhagwan, over to you.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. Good morning to everyone, or actually good afternoon now to everyone. Namaskar. It's an honor to be able to celebrate Shaheed Diwas with you I'd like to begin by thanking Dr. Thomas Abraham, Mr. Shavender Sofat, for inviting my participation, and to GOPIO and the Consul General of India for organizing this event, and to all of my fellow panelists with whom it is a pleasure to share a platform. And also just a special thank you to all of the performances so far, which have been just a pleasure to listen to and really quite amazing. It's a special honor also to have His Excellency Ambassador Randhir Jaiswal, the Indian Consul General of New York, with us. Shaheed Diwas is a day to recognize those who made sacrifices on our behalf. There are actually several days throughout the year where we commemorate Shaheeds in recognition of the fact that there have been many who have made sacrifices, those known and those unknown to us, and that these sacrifices have come in many shapes and forms, some extraordinary and some simply ordinary, though of course that's extraordinary in its own way. The Shaheed Diwas that is observed in March specifically recognizes the martyrs Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, and Rajguru, who made the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of the cause they supported. Another version of this day takes place in January and is dedicated to Mahatma Gandhi. Both Gandhi and Bhagat Singh called on us to believe in something larger than ourselves and larger than themselves, to hold on to some key values, to recognize some essential truths, and to fight for broader ideals. To honor the sacrifices that they made is to recall these values, truths, and ideals, and to understand that the aspiration for these is ongoing and in fact eternal, and that it is through our constant quest for them that our Shaheeds, our martyrs, achieve immortality. Bhagat Singh and Gandhi are often contrasted for having different visions, one that of a young revolutionary, the other the apostle of nonviolence. Yet, in fact, the two were closer in both means and ends than is commonly thought. Both dreamt of a more equal and just world, free from oppression. And once imprisoned, Bhagat Singh and his friends, as Anup Bhargavaji so beautifully illuminated at the outset of this program, achieved renown for fighting for better conditions for those in jail, specifically deploying a tactic more commonly associated with Gandhi, a fasting hunger strike. This nonviolent form of self-suffering, from Gandhi's point of view, was premised on the belief that all of us, each of us, are connected in deep and profound ways through what Gandhi called the bond of love. This love was not that derived from eros, meaning the physical kind, but rather that which is termed agape. Agape love is the universal compassion, the divine spirit that runs through all that is living. For Gandhi, God was love, and hence love was God. Moreover, God was ever truthful, truth itself. And so God equals love equals truth. This was the basis on which he developed his most powerful weapon, his Brahmastra, Satyagraha, the ever-enduring pursuit of truth. Faced with truth, untruth cannot bear the sight of its own shallow ugliness, and so falls away. Through the power of Satyagraha, Gandhi challenged the might of the British Empire, then seen as an invincible authority. The empire, however, was built on lies and distortion, on untruth. It claimed to stand for the betterment and upliftment of its subjects, even as it was intellectually premised on the notion of white supremacy and economically committed to exploiting its colonies for wealth and resources. The British Empire caused damage, even as its leaders and metropolitan base clung to the wispy fiction that it was a force for good. It was Gandhi and Bhagat Singh and all of those who followed them who held up the mirror. Look here at what is happening, they said, calling on those blinded by ideology to see the consequences of their actions, the frail faces and broken bodies of their victims. By calling such attention to themselves, satyagrahis often drew visceral, knee-jerk responses, full of hate and anger, even to tragic end. Yet they absorbed these, drew it deep into themselves. They resisted without physically attacking back. This, and this alone, was the magic: to stand tall, back arched and head held high, to not yield on that which was right, and where possible, though, to remain flexible with a heart full of compassion and forgiveness. This was the satyagrahi. This was courage and inspiration, through which others in the crowd found the way to get up themselves. Because of the bond of love, something unseen was triggered in the oppressor. They felt something, and suddenly their eyes opened. What they felt, Gandhi termed kinship, and Baba Saheb Ambedkar discussed as fraternity and fellowship. Kinship allowed the oppressor to suddenly recognize themselves in those they were oppressing, to admire the act of resistance itself, and even if consciously they might object, through all of this to awaken. And in so doing, satyagrahis freed not only themselves, but their oppressors as well. For the bond of love meant that Gandhi could not see those who put him in chains as enemies. They were opponents, wrong and misguided, yes, but also driven by forces seemingly beyond their control and by the poor choices they felt compelled to make as a result. The power of satyagraha is to liberate the oppressor as much as the oppressed. With this true liberation, all of us together could then stand as one to build a better world. This oneness, though, then as now, has to be built on a key principle: that humanity is splendid in its variety, its multitudes. It is in our differences, freed from the callousness of all supremacist notions, that we see emerge true beauty. It is in this sense of cosmopolitanism for which Gandhi, Bhagat Singh, and so many other Shaheeds fought and sacrificed. And it is this, the beautiful dream, an egalitarianism built on mutual respect and indeed admiration, of dialogue, that as we pay tribute to our Shaheeds, we are asked to recall and renew here now in our own time. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Professor Bhagwan. These are very, 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 very inspirational words for all of us, and how, reminds continuously of our upbringing, from where we come, what our martyrs have sacrificed for making us what we are. So we are always and will always be indebted for all the generations to come from here on. Taking on our journey, I would, now like to introduce Vipul Devji, and he needs no introduction. So I will like to say that Vipulji, as we all know, is the Consul for Press, Information and Culture at the Indian Consulate at New York. Vipulji is an avid supporter, and Shaheed Diwas, Vipulji, we have been able to put the program because of your support, the consulate support, Consul General support. Thank you so much for joining us, and I would request you to please say a few words.
Thank you so much, Bhavya ji. And while I again say thanks to you for, acknowledging my role in this entire process, but let me tell everyone that my role was, not more than 5%. It is entirely an effort and hard work of GOPIO, of you and all the team members of GOPIO and all the well-wishers. And of course, all the community members who want to keep the flame alive, who want to keep the memories of our martyrs alive in the hearts of not just, the current members of GOPIO, but also the coming generations. And it is very important to let the future generations of our diaspora, especially the kids who are born and brought up here in the United States, to acquaint them with the history, with the glorious history of India's freedom struggle, and especially the history of those people who inspired generations of freedom fighters to fight for truth and justice, to fight against the oppressor. So that was their seminal contribution, not just to, I would say, India's history, but I mean, we all know that fighting for truth and justice is a cause for entire humanity, and that's what they stood for. Against all odds, against so many difficulties and adversities, they did not let their principles, get compromised, and they fought for our freedom. And while I say that, I would also like to, underline that it is easy to fight against the oppressors of yesterday, but those people, when they were fighting those fights, they were fighting the oppressors of that day, and it was so beneficial to side with the oppressor, like so many people would have done. That would have brought them immense fortunes or good careers or money or zamindaris and whatnot. But they chose to, fight for the, let's say, fight against colonialism and fight against the oppressor of their day. So it took immense courage and immense sacrifices on their part. Imagine someone, as young as 23 years old, like Bhagat Singh was, and their other companions. They were young men in their 20s. Some were in their 30s. But imagine the kind of courage and sacrifice that they chose. So we should learn and we should take inspiration from their life, and we should understand their message and take it forward as we go. And at the Consulate General of India, as all of our friends who are regular at our events and who are connected with us, we know that this year we are celebrating the 75th year of India's independence. We are celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. And as part of that series of celebrations, we are remembering so many of our freedom fighters, especially those who we consider unsung heroes. So we are having a series of such events. Please follow the Consulate's social media platforms and handles to know more about such events. And apart from that, we are also celebrating the languages and cultures of India, because our diversity is our strength. That is something that brings us together and makes us a great nation. So as part of that series also, we are celebrating so many languages. The next event in that series is a celebration of Kannada language. That's an online event. I would like to invite all in one for that event. And I will share the information on that event in the chat box. So please join us for that event. It is on 25th of March. The guest speaker for that event is Mr. H.S. Shiv Prakash. He's a noted poet and literary person of Kannada language. So that is also an, I would say, a small effort from the consulate in terms of nation building and strengthening our nation. So please join us for that. And thank you so much, everyone, for coming today, celebrating and remembering our heroes. Thank you.
Thank you, Vipulji. Certainly, thank you for the invitation and all the support. I'm sure all of us will love to join this event and take it from there on.
Thank you.
So, Anup ji, aapke upar.
नहीं बस so now we are coming to almost an end, and अंत में जो सबसे जरूरी बात रह जाती है वो होता है सबको धन्यवाद देना जिन्होंने इस कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाने में मदद की। आप कुछ चेहरे देख रहे हैं यहाँ पर, लेकिन इस कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाने में उन बहुत से चेहरों का हाथ है जो आज यहाँ पर आप नहीं देख पाए हैं। तो मैं आमंत्रित करता हूँ सिड जैन को। सिड गोपियों के बहुत ही सक्रिय सदस्यों में से रहे हैं, और मैं आमंत्रित करता हूं उन्हें कि वो औपचारिक रूप से धन्यवाद दें। लेकिन उससे पहले मैं एक बात, जो एक ट्रिविया सवाल है, मैं आप सबसे पूछना चाहता हूं कि आपने सबने सुना होगा सरफरोशी की तमन्ना अब हमारे दिल में है। आप में से कितने लोग जानते हैं कि उसे किसने लिखा था? जवाब दीजिए आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर। सरफरोशी की तमन्ना अब हम, बहुत प्रसिद्ध गीत है। और अक्सर जो इसका जवाब आता है वो होता है राम प्रसाद बिस्मिल ने लिखा था इसको, लेकिन ये सवाल, ये जवाब गलत है। ये बिस्मिल का लिखा हुआ नहीं है, राम प्रसाद बिस्मिल जी का लिखा हुआ नहीं है। ये लिखा हुआ बिस्मिल जी का है, लेकिन वो थे बिस्मिल अजीमाबादी, एक कवि हुआ करते थे। और अजीमाबाद मेरे ख्याल में रणधीर जायसवाल जी को पता होगा, पटना का पुराना नाम था। तो पटना के एक कवि हुआ करते थे, उनका भी नाम बिस्मिल ही था, बिस्मिल अजीमाबादी। लेकिन उन्होंने ये गीत लिखा था और कुछ कारणों से ये राम प्रसाद बिस्मिल जी के नाम से जुड़ गया है। तो इसके साथ अब हम आमंत्रित करते हैं सिड जैन को, वो औपचारिक रूप से सबका धन्यवाद अदा करेंगे। भाव्य, तुम्हें तो धन्यवाद देंगे ही इतने सुंदर संचालन के लिए और मुझे ये मौका देने के लिए।
अनूप जी, मैं पटना का ही हूँ, इसलिए बहुत
पटने से
धन्यवाद।
अजीमाबाद के, जी 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 जी,
मैं born and
वहीं के
raised in
शायर हुआ
पटना।
करते थे।
हाँ,
थैंक यू अनुज जी। मैं एक बात यहाँ और कहना चाहती हूँ सिड जी के कुछ कहने से पहले, और वो मैं चितरंजन जी के लिए कहना चाहती हूँ। आज के प्रोग्राम का जो बैकबोन है वो चितरंजन जी ने प्रोवाइड किया है, राइट फ्रॉम फ्लायर टू द जूम स्पॉटलाइट जिसमें हम सब आ रहे हैं, सिस्टम चेक, हर चीज, एवरीथिंग इज ऑल क्रेडिट गोज टू चितरंजन जी, द स्मूथ मूवमेंट ऑफ द प्रोग्राम, चितरंजन जी, सो थैंक यू
everyone.
Sid, over to you now.
Absolutely. GOPIO एक ऐसी संस्था है. GOPIO is an organization which basically is a global organization, people of Indian origin, and we are all here, part of it, and we all deserve thanks just being here on a Saturday, whether it's morning, evening, or night. Like Bhuvan Lalji is still awake, standing straight posture. That should be a dedication for a lot of us to just see how you can be still standing, sitting straight with your back, dedicated with a smile. That's a passion. That passion is what we need this generation and future generations to learn from. That was only possible because of the sacrifices of the years past, of the leaders past, whether it's 1857 to 1947, or whether it is from the 1600s or the 1800s. The battles have always happened. Shaheed is not a term taken lightly, irrespective of generations that we go by. It is a testament to the sovereignty, to the peacefulness that exists after their contributions. What we enjoy today are the seeds sown by them. To that, let me start by thanking our Counsel General, Senator Ram, Counsel Vipul Dev ji, to the esteemed speakers, Bhuvan Lal ji, Neerja ji, who basically thrilled us with her combination of knowledge on different parts, to Kavi ji, who basically brought everybody back with his amazing rendition. So Anup ji, a lot of thanks to you for bringing Kavi ji between us. Manu Bhagwan ji, who brought all the connected dots, irrespective of where you would have started, or if you missed this session, you still did not miss much if you heard Manu ji. And the list is endless. It is a hard work and dedication of the entire GOPIO chapters, starting with our chairman, Thomas Abraham ji, Lal Motwani ji, to the team that works below him, from the chapter heads, Shivinder Sofat ji of Manhattan, Central Jersey, Kunal Mehta, Edison, Pallavi ji, Manhattan, Beena ji, who's not here. Then the founders of GOPIO alongside with Thomas ji, Lal Motwani ji and Ram Gadvi ji, and so many others that make this possible. Within Manhattan, I also see Mukund ji. Hello, always being there in every weekly meeting. I see Dalpat Patel ji here, a centenarian, a octogenarian here, who probably has been there for 80 and has seen the independence of India. Our treasurer, without which our programs can't work, Braj Agarwal ji. So the list is endless. But most importantly, for showing up, being here is most important. Then to our MCs, without which this event would not have gone through. Shuddh Hindi ke pracharak, Anu Bhargava ji, aapko shat shat naman. Bhavya ji, balancing Hindi and English together to make sure the crowd stays together. Thank you so much. Chitranjan ji, the backbone, as Bhavya ji has already said. I would like to add two more words to it. Founder of GOPIO Manhattan, as well as GOPIO Edison, and a pillar of support for Pallavi ji, because whatever she does in singing, there's a whole thing that goes behind to make sure her voice is eloquent, as we hear is happening from a technology standpoint. Pallavi ji, thank you for being here amongst us, singing two wonderful songs. from your repertoire. To end the session, I have 4 lines. This goes with the Tiranga as and inspired by what Kaviji said. इतनी सी बात हवाओं को बताए रखना. इतनी सी बात हवाओं को बताए रखना. रोशनी होगी चिरागों को जलाए रखना. रोशनी होगी चिरागों को जलाए रखना. लहू देकर जिसकी हिफाजत हमने, लहू देकर जिसकी हिफाजत हमने, ऐसे तिरंगे को सदा अपनी आंखों में बसाए रखना. ऐसे तिरंगे को सदा अपनी आंखों में बसाए रखना. जय हिंद.
बहुत अच्छे.
नमस्कार. जय हिंद.
Sidji, before we close, I want to recognize few other live members. And
please go ahead, sir.
Some people who have joined us from the Middle East as well as even from Africa. We have to. I request everybody to open your video so that you could be seen. We have live members, Attorney Anand Ahuja, then Dr. Ramesh Pandey from New Jersey. And then we have the people, there was Naveen Nachani, our GOPIO president from Bahrain. And even we have one Monsi Matthews from Ethiopia. Then Professor Maya Chadha, whom we had last time as a speaker. So she's also here, and also wanted to recognize our GOPIO Manhattan treasurer, Braj Agarwal. And of course, he was already been introduced, filmmaker Trilok Malik. And then from GOPIO Connecticut, our official of the New Jersey, the Connecticut chapter, Ashwani. And then from GOPIO Manhattan, we have our Vice President, Dr. Vimal Goyal, who does our soup, the community feeding. She has been doing that for the last 2 years, every month. Thank you, Vimalji. And then also want to recognize Mr. Raj Punjabi, who is who is GOPIO Manhattan official. And also want to recognize the Kerala Center is being represented by Mr. Raju Thomas, who is also a writer, poet. Anyway, thank you all. Back to you, Bhavyaji.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. Like we all say, जैसे हम सब जानते हैं, we always say last but not the least. So last but not the least, I would request Shivinder ji to come and say a few words with us. Shivinder ji again needs no introduction. He's a founding sponsor and president of GOPIO Manhattan. जैसे अनूप जी ने कहा था कि कुछ लोग जो बिल्कुल दिखाई नहीं देते हैं और जिनका हमें पता नहीं लगता है कि कैसे किस तरह से सब कुछ ताना बाना बुना जाता है. आज का प्रोग्राम और GOPIO मैनहट्टन की तरफ से जितना भी एफर्ट आता है उसके सारी जितना फाउंडेशन है वो शिविंदर जी देते हैं हमको. He needs again no introduction. He's a vibrant member of the NRI community in USA, a CA and CPA by profession, and he's a partner at Goldfine CPA. शिविंदर जी, अब आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे हमसे 2 शब्द कहें.
Thank you, Abhay. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Consulate, Randeep Jaiswal ji, Vipul ji, and all our speakers for joining. This topic is very close to everyone's heart. It is so close to, I'm very much emotionally attached to this. I get emotional on this occasion. So I will not take more time because we have already gone over time. So I will just say one thing which I always remind myself, that शहीदों की चिताओं पे लगेंगे हर बरस मेले. शहीदों की चिताओं पे लगेंगे हर बरस मेले, वतन पे मरने वालों का यही बाकी निशान होगा. अगर if we can just keep on remembering them and just follow their footsteps, I think we can help to build a better India. And I will we will keep it officially. We will close. Pallavi ji and Gajinder ji, I have already requests from people that if Gajinder ji can say a few words or speak some more after we officially close. Some people will be staying. So if you will be available, that will be great. Bhuvan Lal ji, thank you for the support. और आप जो भी फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल के लिए लिखते रहे हैं, It has been amazing connecting from Lala Hardayal ji to, if you go through Lala Hardayal and then move to Kartar Singh Saraba and Bhagat Singh, Uddham Singh, and then Bose. This is all one journey. It is not unrelated. It is just one thread. So I will not take more time. I will just say, join me for one thing. We have said Jai Hind so many times, but also let's say one more thing, which is close to all these martyrs, is Inqilab Zindabad. Let's say once together. Inqilab Zindabad.
Zindabad.
Thank you, Jai Hind. We will keep this. We will stop the recording, but we will keep it open. So because it is all our family, one family kind here, so we can keep it open and all can unmute. Anybody wants to speak something, and Gajinder ji, if you will be available, if you want to recite something, that will be great. Tivlok ji is here.
Gajinder ji, should we stop recording here?
Yes, we can stop recording here.
Okay, let me do that.